Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtotatarshat Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So today we have the good fortune of reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 24, titled The Renunciation of Kardama Muni, and text 5. Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣaṁ kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣam kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣam kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣam kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣaṁ kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum. Matajis. Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣaṁ kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣam kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum Maitreya uvāca devahūtī api sandeśaṁ gauraveṇa prajāpateḥ samyak śraddhāya puruṣam kūṭa-stham abhajad gurum. Word by word meaning in translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maitreya uvāca, Maitreya said, Devahūti, Devahūti, api, also, sandeśam, the direction, gauraveṇa, with great respect, Prajāpateḥ, of Kardama, samyak, complete, śraddhāya, having faith in, puruṣam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, kūṭa-stham, situated in everyone's heart, abhajad, worshipped, gurum, most worshipable. Translation. Śrī Maitreya said, Devahūti was fully faithful and respectful towards the direction of her husband Kardama, who was one of the great Prajāpatis or generators of human beings in this universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the Master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. Kindly repeat after me. Śrī Maitreya said, Devahūti was fully faithful and respectful towards the directions of her husband, Kardama, who was one of the Prajāpatis or generators of human beings in the universe. O great sage, she thus began to worship the Master of the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart. Purport. This is the process of spiritual realization. One has to receive instruction from a bona fide spiritual master. Kardama Muni was Devahūti's husband, but because he instructed her on how to achieve spiritual perfection, he naturally became her spiritual master also. There are many instances wherein the husband becomes the spiritual master. Lord Shiva also is the spiritual master of his consort, Parvati. A husband should be so enlightened that he should become the spiritual master of his wife in order to enlighten her in the advancement of Krishna consciousness. Generally, Strī or woman is less intelligent than man. Therefore, if the husband is intelligent enough, the woman gets a great opportunity for spiritual enlightenment. Here it is clearly said, samyak śraddhāya, that with great faith one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master and with great faith execute the performance of service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, has especially stressed the instructions of the spiritual master. One should accept the instruction of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. Whether one is liberated or not liberated, one should execute the instruction of the spiritual master with great faith. It is also stated that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. One does not have to seek the Lord outside. He is already there. One simply has to concentrate on one's worship in good faith as instructed by the bona fide spiritual master, and one's effort will come out successfully. It is also clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead does not appear as an ordinary child. He appears as he is. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, he appears by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. And how does he appear? He appears when pleased by the worship of a devotee. A devotee may ask the Lord to appear as her son. The Lord is already sitting within the heart, and if he comes out from the body of a devotee, it does not mean that the particular woman becomes his mother in the material sense. He's always there. But in order to please his devotee, he appears as her own son. Om ajnanatirmirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militamena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I consider myself a fool assembled in the association of very exalted devotees. Being asked to speak today on Srimad Bhagavatam is giving me an opportunity to somehow or the other purify myself. And if I say something wrong and incorrect, please forgive me and shower your blessings on me. This section of Srimad Bhagavatam, where the renunciation of Kardama Muni is described, we are on chapter 24, verse number 5. I've just read the translation of verse number 5. I'll also like to read the preceding 4 verses, translation only. It starts by saying, recalling the words of Lord Vishnu, the merciful sage Kardama replied as follows to Swayambhuva, Manu's praiseworthy daughter, Devahūtī, who was speaking words full of renunciation. The sage said, "Do not be disappointed with yourself, O princess. You are actually praiseworthy. The infallible Supreme Personality of Godhead will shortly enter your womb as your son. You have undertaken sacred vows. God will bless you. Hence you should worship the Lord with great faith through sensory control, religious observations, austerities and gifts of your money in charity. The personality of Godhead being worshipped by you will spread my name and fame. He will vanquish the knot of your heart by becoming your son and teaching knowledge of Brahman." All the devotees assembled here know that the words of Kardama Muni do become true very shortly afterwards. Devahūtī is blessed by the presence of Lord Kapila. The Lord himself comes as her son. This section of Bhagavatam describes the life between Kardama Muni and his wife Devahūtī, husband and wife, performing householder life together. And just 10 chapters before this, preceding section of the Srimad Bhagavatam also describes the life of another householder couple. Does anybody remember who that householder couple was? The name was Diti and Kashyapa. The Srimad Bhagavatam is very beautifully and very systematically giving us instructions. These are instructions for householders, definitely, but not only for householders. In the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful allegory, the city of 9 gates, where the life of Puranjana is described through a complete journey. At the end of that journey appears a section where Srimad Bhagavatam reveals to us when the king of Vidarbha leaves his body, Vaidharvi, his wife, who's the spirit soul who moves through the allegory of Puranjani, takes birth as Vaidharvi, and the husband leaves. Then the Lord himself appears in the form of a swan. She wanted to commit suicide. She wanted to leave her body. The Lord appears as a swan and describes to her that I, Vaidharva, is the original spiritual master residing in everybody's heart. These pastimes are instructing us about the relationship between the spiritual master and disciple. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada very kindly refers to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and his strong instructions in Bhagavad Gita. Those instructions are highlighted in the famous verse of Bhagavad Gita 2.34. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updeshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshana. And Srila Prabhupada describes that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the formula of spiritual perfection. Paripatena pariprashnena sevaya. All ashrams are an opportunity to adopt this formula. They are an opportunity to surrender, to serve, and to inquire about spiritual life, whatever the relationship be. But the ashrams, they only become successful if we dedicate that service, that surrender, and inquiry towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The process of Krishna consciousness, as described by Srila Rupa Goswami, starts with Shraddha, faith. The verse in Bhagavad Gita describes the same faith. The process of husband and wife coming together, the process of a disciple accepting a spiritual master describes the same faith. The faith which is then cultivated over a period of time with further surrender, further service, and further spiritual inquiry, leading all the way to Krishna Prema. Now, as I shared with you, these two pastimes that have appeared in Srimad Bhagavatam, they appear in a certain chronology. And they can be very instructive if we adopt them not only from the point of view of the householder life, and renunciants sitting here can reject it saying, okay, this is for the householders. But if you kindly take the perspective and the context that Srimad Bhagavatam shares with us, that I've shared with you, that every single instance can be translated from the perspective of a disciple. How a disciple should behave, how a disciple should cultivate his or her faith. Then all of these pastimes will become very, very instructive. So I mentioned there were two householder couples. The first householder couple that was referred to in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that comes just preceding this section, is Diti and Kashyapa. Do we all recall what happened in that instance? They're both sages. Kashyapa is a sage, and so is Kardama Muni. Both performing severe austerities, both accept a wife. Spiritual master accepting a disciple. In one instance, and lo and behold, the desire was also the same. The desire to have progeny, the desire to have a child. But look at the stark difference. In the case of Kashyapa, Kashyapa instructs his wife, Diti, wait, this is not the right time. But Diti, the disciple, does not follow the instruction. In the case of Devahūti and Kardama, Kardama gives the same instructions, which I read the first 4 verses. And Devahūti follows it very, very diligently. And what was the result? The result was exactly what we all want in our life. That is the appearance of Lord Shri Krishna in our hearts. The goal, Srila Prabhupada said, is we should all reach a point where we should be able to see the Lord in our hearts. Premanchana churita bhakti vilochanena santasa deva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sundara machintya guna swarupam govindam adi puruṣaṁ tamaham bhajami. Excuse me, please. And this happened in the case of Devahūti because she followed the instructions of the spiritual master to the letter, and the Lord appeared. Srila Prabhupada has given us, through the Srimad Bhagavatam and the process of devotional service, all of us this opportunity to be able to purify our existence and to be able to see the Lord face to face. It is possible. The Lord can come as the sun, can come in different forms to purify our existence, and pending which, if we do not follow the instructions of the spiritual master sincerely, appears a disaster. In this section, we will hear how Kardama Muni has already described the boon, the glory that will come. Similarly, if you all recall, Kashyapa, after Diti has conceived, in that section speaks very forcefully. He chastises Diti and says, Diti, your sons are going to cause disaster, complete disaster in this world. And if we were to pay attention to what kind of disaster it would lead to if we don't follow the instructions of the spiritual master, the two names, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, are instructive. If we don't follow the instructions of the spiritual master and try to follow the process of spiritual life, not doing pranipatena, not doing pariprashnena, not doing sevaya, then desires for dhanam, janam, sundarim will arise in our heart. Hiranyakashipu, Srila Prabhupada describes in the 7th canto, is described as gold and soft bed. Hiranyaksha, no different. And that will arise in our heart if we don't follow the instructions of the spiritual master in the way Srila Prabhupada instructs us. Desires are tying us all up. Sharira abhidya jal jodendriya tahekal. These desires are tying us up. And there is no way, Jiva phale vishay sagare, there is no way we can be delivered. Shri Radha Madhav Ashta Sakhi ki jai. There is no way we can be delivered from this world. The word Sharira here is not just this gross body which is composed of these hands, feet and the gross elements. Sharira are two. The gross body and the subtle body. The subtle body is composed of the mind, false ego and intelligence. And it's the false ego, mind and intelligence which ties us up, which dictates the others. Mana shashtendriyani. Of them, the mind is the most powerful. But if we want to purify the mind, there is only one solution, which is to develop faith in the instructions of the spiritual master. Therefore, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada time and again says, follow the instructions of the spiritual master, bona fide. Bona fide. Often we only see the word bona fide attached to the spiritual master. Bona fide, Latin bona means good, fide means faith. Good faith in somebody who is genuine spiritual master. I'm sitting in the presence of many spiritual masters and I offer everybody my obeisances. How about we also think about ourselves as bona fide disciples? We are always asking questions or trying to test who's a bona fide spiritual master. How about this Guru Parampara is a relationship, moves from the spiritual master to the disciple, but if the disciple is not bona fide, how will this parampara continue? So we should all take instructions from this verse and see, can I be a bona fide disciple? Good faith, genuine disciple who follows the instructions given by Srila Prabhupada and Srimad Bhagavatam with full faith. I'll take now your permission to read some words from the purport again to emphasize. But please, when I read this, please keep the context. Please note that those desires that we have cultivated for innumerable lifetimes, and they're not going away easily. They can only be cut slowly by developing faith. Srila Prabhupada says, this is the process of spiritual realization. One has to receive instructions from a bona fide spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada then describes the relationship between Shiva and Parvati, Kardama and Devahūti. Parvati very, very often takes instructions from Lord Shiva. In the next paragraph, Srila Prabhupada emphasizes samyak śraddhāya, that with great faith one should receive knowledge from the spiritual master, and with great faith execute the performance of service. In the 9 steps that are described by Srila Rupa Goswami, we can all think about them together. They also follow the same formula. The first step is Śraddha. It is described as the soft faith that yes, I'm a spirit soul and I want to make spiritual progress. That soft faith, the next step, would anybody like to share the next step? Is sadhu sangha, which is association of devotees. Srila Prabhupada gave us faith, the soft faith, and he organized the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in such a way that we can all get the opportunity for sadhu sangha, association of devotees. What is the next step? Bhajana kriya. And what does bhajana kriya mean? It means devotional service. If we come in the association of devotees, Srila Prabhupada also structured ISKCON in such a way that there is plenty of service to perform and everybody must perform service. Srila Prabhupada said this is not a society for lazies and crazies, which means it is a society where everybody must serve. So the first 3 steps Srila Prabhupada gave. And what would then the result be? These are the steps we have to continuously perform. And what shall be the result? The desires, you remember the desires that we talked about? Srila Prabhupada is mentioning is samyak śraddhāya. This śraddha, this faith becomes stronger by performance of devotional service in the association of devotees, and then that leads to anartha nivritti. These desires embedded deep in our hearts, slowly and slowly they'll start dismantling, hopefully. Hopefully they'll dismantle. And then happens nishtha. And nishtha is faith, firm faith. This Komal Shraddha has progressed to firm faith, nishtha. Nishtha. It is faith. But see, by practicing in the shelter of International Society of Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada, by following Srila Prabhupada's instruction, we have the hope of developing this Shraddha. And with this Shraddha, the next step is Ruchi. We start developing taste. Taste for chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We always wonder, when will that day come, O Lord, when I'll be able to chant your names? It will come if we follow this process given by Srila Prabhupada. So Ruchi comes. Ruchi comes that I'm eager to perform service. I'm eager to see the Lord. I'm eager to be in the association of devotees. And if that Ruchi is not arising, we should not be on the mental plane thinking that I'm making progress. We should not be on that mental plane thinking that everybody else is wrong, but I'm making progress. If our ruchi is going away from the association of devotees, from chanting the holy name, from reading Srimad Bhagavatam, from residing in the holy dhams, means something is going wrong. But if that ruchi has arisen, naturally over a period of time, the same formula, the formula does not change, it will lead to asakti, deep attachment. And this is what we want to get to. We have attachment towards so many things in our life. We want that day when our attachment will be simply in the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Madhav. And there is no other desire left. It's not that when we reach nishtha, ruchi, asakti, that faith, bhajane kriya, sadhu sangha are not necessary. Just like if you create a building or you're creating something solid, it's not that the foundation can remain weak. It's not that shraddha can be thrown out of the window because I've reached asakti. It will be mental platform. If we continue to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, there are so many examples given in the Srimad Bhagavatam of the result. Does anybody else recall another example of how by following the instructions of the spiritual master, the devotee saw the Lord face to face? Fourth canto, Dhruva Maharaj. And what was the instruction given to Dhruva Maharaj? Very simple instruction. We also chant it every time when we start Srimad Bhagavatam, and it was Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He was given this simple instruction by his spiritual master, Narada Muni, just go and chant. And what did Dhruva Maharaj do? That's all he did. He simply followed the instruction of the spiritual master, and within a short period of 6 months, who did he see? He saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And then he said, oh, how unfortunate. He says that, oh my Lord, I had this desire that I wanted to be greater than my father, Uttanapad. Yeah, Uttanapad. I wanted a kingdom greater than him. I was a fool. When you appear in front of me like a diamond, that desire was like broken glass. But the Lord did appear. And I hope that one day I will also realize that all my desires are like broken glasses. And I like to conclude this discussion by stating another example of another personality who followed the instructions of the spiritual master. And by doing so, he helped millions and millions of devotees in this world to take up to chanting Krishna consciousness. Would anybody like to guess who's that? Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada describes, despite so many challenges, difficulties, took the order of the spiritual master to his heart. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitate Koriya Aikya Aur Na Koriho Mane Asha. No other desire. And by that desire to fulfill, we are sitting here in Sridham Mayapur under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, Shri Radha Madhav Panchatattva, and Lord Nrsimhadev, trying to perfect our lives. Thank you. I would like to request my exalted Vaishnavas, to kindly share. I got to come back to Mayapur after 1 year. So I'm sorry, a bit emotional. But, when you sit here, when you sit outside of Mayapur, I'll glorify Sridham Mayapur for a few seconds, please. When you sit outside Sridham of Mayapur and you're chanting Radha Madhav, you're thinking about Radha Madhav here. But then when you come here and you chant Radha Madhav and you see the Lord, it's unimaginable. And the same holds for Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. So all the devotees who are residing here, you're very, very fortunate, and I pray for your mercy. Thank you. And I pray for all the Maharaj, all the brahmacharis, all the devotees present here also. Please share your comments on this beautiful purport of Srila Prabhupada. Sureshwar Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, you mentioned that Dhruva Maharaj, he became perfect just by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So please refresh my memory. He did a lot of other things too, which caused such consternation that the Davids went to Brahma and said, please find out what this child wants. We can't breathe. So was that something that Dhruva made up, or is that part of the instruction too?
It was part of the instructions.
Okay.
He was told to go to the bank of a river, Yamuna, and I can't exactly recall. I think it was Madhuban. I apologize. And he was given specific instruction to worship the form of the Lord. He did not make up anything. When we follow the instructions of the spiritual master who's outside to the T, the Lord also reveals further instructions from the heart. And the result proves for itself. So he followed, he performed austerities. And in the fourth or the third verse that I read today, we are all supposed to do that also. It says very clearly, Kardama Muni gave the same instructions. Sensory control, which is what Dhruva did. He took a particular posture. Religious observances, he made a deity made out of clay. He performed austerities, gifts of your money in charity. He was a small boy, he didn't have. Whatever he had, he gave. So he did not, it was not a mental speculation, it was the Lord, the Chaitya Guru, who inspired him to do so.
Yeah, and that reminds me of when Prabhupada came, so he didn't make anything up as far as principles, but he was very creative in how he applied those principles in the West and in India. So there is room for creativity, but it's always consistent with the order of the Guru. And like Prabhupada, he told the devotees at first when to initiate them, he said, so, this is in September 66, at 26. He said, so, in my spiritual master's institution, many devotees chanted 64 rounds. I think you can also do this. And then all the devotees were, huh? Like, no way. Okay, and then Prabhupada said, okay, so I think you can chant 32. And they were still, huh? All right, 16 rounds minimum. 3 years later, Brahmananda Swami, and this is told in the book Swamiji that he and Satyaraj put together, he said to Prabhupada at 61 Second Avenue, he said, you remember when you did that, Prabhupada? You went 64, 32, 16. Why did you do that? And so Prabhupada just chuckled and said, oh, I just wanted to see what you people could do. And so, and then he judged by the result, right? So he's always challenging us, but appropriately, according to what we can actually do. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Suresh, for comments.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your wonderful class. In the Purport, there is one line, generally, Strī or woman is less intelligent than man. But we see in the spiritual world that Jannava Mataji, as well as Ganga Mataji, they became a spiritual master also previously. Even in present world also we see that in the competitive examination in India and abroad, the girls, the women are doing very, very well. So why it is written there, if you would please explain, Prabhuji. That it is written, generally Strī or woman is less intelligent than man.
Would any of the elders here like to address that question? Okay, so Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti. Buddhi, intelligence. There are different kinds of intelligence. And depending upon the intelligence that we apply to Srila Prabhupada's writing, we will come to a different conclusion. There is material intelligence which is used for material pursuit, and you can get a lot. And in human life, different human beings, depending upon their father, their mother, their karma, they may be imbued with certain amount of material intelligence. In terms of spiritual intelligence, only to the extent that we follow the instruction of the spiritual master, one may be considered as intelligent or not intelligent. One may be a man, but the greatest fool. One may be a woman, but spiritually very intelligent. Srila Prabhupada here says, I'll read the exact line. Srila Prabhupada said, generally, Strī or woman is less intelligent than man. The word is generally, not always. Not always, generally. Generally in a sense that when one is performing householder duties, the ladies, the women have many responsibilities which engage them in householder duties. The Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, the instructions of Rishabhadev, Pumsa Striya Methuni Bhavame. There also it's described. Ato griha kshetre sutapta vittir. All of that, expansion of Strī. The word Strī comes from vistar. I mean, the vistar and Strī have the same root, expansion. Expansion means you have to dedicate your mind, intelligence, and time towards a certain kind of expansion. And because the wife plays that duty of taking care of the household, taking care of it, generally their mind is focused on that, from that point of view. But please, this is in contrast where it says, also say, therefore if the husband is intelligent enough, so why ask the question from the point of a woman only? Why not ask the question from the point of view of a man? Is the question, if you're men, we should think, am I intelligent enough? Am I dedicated enough to the instruction of the spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada's instructions? Am I qualified enough to deliver those who are dependent upon me from the clutches of this birth and death? Again, 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the beautiful verse, Guru na satsyan, swajano na sasyan, pitana sasyaj janani na sasyaj devam na tatsyan pati na tatsyan namo chayeryad samupetya mrityu. So, if we can deliver, we are intelligent. If we cannot deliver, we are not intelligent, and it is generally in the context of duties of householder life. Okay. Difficult question. Any comments on questions on something else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
When we come to Krishna consciousness, we learn about that we are a spirit soul and that we are not the body, and about our relationship with Krishna. But apart from that, we also become aware that every human being has a different situation, different duties. And so the relationship or the difference between men and women also becomes quite obvious. So, but it seems that it's, so far I have seen, very difficult for us to simultaneously practice both. Simultaneously practice our spiritual understanding that we are all spirit souls and all equal, and at the same time relate perfectly according to the material dharma. So how important is it that we learn how to do both perfectly? Because when I read Srimad Bhagavatam, then I see how the pure devotees, they perfectly also engage in varnashram dharma when they refer each other to, let's say, when Vidur, he asked a question to no, he referred to Maitreya, but he asked the question to Uddhav. Thank you. But he immediately referred him to Maitreya Muni. So, I mean, that is nothing but the Vaishnava respect and also, I would say, varnashram dharma. So, yeah, how important is it that we learn to do both at the same time?
Perfectly, the word that you use, perfectly, is a tall order. It's quite difficult, but we should try. And Srila Prabhupada himself mentioned that we should strive to establish varnashram so that we all can, the same struggles that you're sharing with us, we all go through the same struggles. So that we have an opportunity to try and discharge our duties as mother, father, and at the same time, we can also discharge our duty as a disciple in spiritual life. So for that, yes, we should not get despondent if we are not able to do it perfectly. We should understand that we have imperfections, but we should strive towards that. And how do we go about it? Once again, the same thing. We have to do sadhu sangha and bhajana kriya. We have to take shelter of devotees who are doing it. By Srila Prabhupada's mercy, there are always those who are householders, sannyasis, brahmacharis, who are also vanaprasthas, who are performing this nicely. We take their shelter for both, perfecting our spiritual life and our ashram duties. Then we have a chance. Otherwise, I admit, as a householder, it's very difficult. It is 9 o'clock, and I thank you all very much for your presence. and your discussion. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai Srila Prabhupada.